Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys, and this is another Season 6 episode of the Flash Review. So this episode was another good episode, and finally, and I mean finally, we got a frickin' Flash episode that revolved around frickin' Barry Allen, the Flash. I know for the past 3 weeks, so many people have been complaining dude, we've been getting no Barry. Where is the Flash? We get this Flash episode, and it was a good one tonight. So, anyways, yeah. So, the episode starts off with Barry having this bouquet of flowers, and he looks like very concerned slash very sad. And it's interesting, and I was like, wow, that's crazy to see why is he sad? I'm like, was this like something that happened between him and Iris? And I was like, okay, something must have happened. Um, so it cuts to, well, he gets a meta alert to his phone, and when he's running to stop the meta, Camilla and Chester were in Star Labs, and they were basically people who was helping him stop the meta. And he's like, wait, why are you guys doing that? And essentially Camilla says, like, well, you already know Cisco's out. Caitlin, or whatever, Frost, she's over at Argus, doing something, and then, Ralph, he's out still looking for Sue. So obviously they have to help him. He goes into this jewelry bank robbery. There's this bank robbery by this guy named Harry Rathaway, and he gets away by using his powers. Um, and when Barry tries to chase him, he goes away where essentially there's this train, and he doesn't see, or he doesn't remember a train being there, and he almost gets hit by it. If he didn't essentially vibrate himself, I forgot what he did. I forgot how you call this move or whatever. But the fact that he, didn't do that, he would have died. So yeah. Anyways, we're back at Star Labs. Barry is doing something to Gideon, or like his, ear Gideon, and Chester finally sees that Barry Allen is a Flash, and he is beyond belief. So this is the next person that now knows Barry Allen is the Flash. So he's super hyped, and Barry kind of is like stressed out and stuff like that. He's like, "Look, don't touch Gideon, don't do that." Chester does touch Gideon, makes a little slight modification to Gideon to help Barry out, and essentially it kind of gets him kicked out of the freaking thing. He's like, look, let me handle this and let's move on. And Camilla kind of talks to Barry for a second, and she's like, okay, we know you don't want us around and stuff like that. And essentially the reason why Barry acts all like upset and a little pissed off at them is because when he was essentially trying to find his parents' cemetery, and he couldn't do that because that's a result of the changes that happened in Crisis. The same thing with the train, because he says, I don't remember this train being here. So yeah. And you can obviously see he's stressed out because of because of the changes, because of Crisis, because he barely knows like what has changed. Anyways, it cuts to Iris and Eva, and essentially Iris asked Eva if to use the device of the night of the particle accelerator, and Eva's like, I don't think we should do it. It's not gonna work. I've tried it before, and yeah, so it does that. That was kind of the side plot, as well as this. I'll get to it. And this was kind of just a one-off little side plot, and it's the fact that Nash and Allegra are together, and he needed help on doing this particle thing, and it all like fails. And Allegra, before this even happens, she asks Wells like, how do you know so much about me, or how you like so you sound like you know me like really well. So anyways, after the little particle thing explodes, and they kind of get pushed back, Allegra sees the image of Wells and his daughter, well, his Allegra from, his Earth. And she gets really upset, and she's like, oh, so what is this? Who is this? Is this me? And stuff like that. He later goes on to talk to Frost about it, and Frost, she says, like, even though that's your daughter or something, and Nash Wells is denying it, but we all know that that's probably his daughter. I know the last time I spoke on this, I said like that could be like his love interest or something. Now when you look at it, I'm like, no, that's probably his daughter. Wells or Nash Wells was saying like it's like some kind of business partner that went to thing, but we all know that it's probably gonna be his daughter at the end of the day. So yeah. Um, anyways, going back to the main point of the episode, is when Barry puts in the Gideon in his ear and he starts shocking out, and then he passes out, and then he wakes up and he's in a cage. So then we come back from the commercial break, and Caitlin walks in and then asks strange questions to Barry, and all of a sudden we see Eobard Wells and Barry. Man, Barry got super aggressive to this Eobard Wells, and it was like, oh dang, he hates him some Wells. Anytime you bring up some Eobard Wells or Eobard Thawne, that dude hates him. He's like out for blood. I'm like, dang, maybe you guys really hate each other. But yeah, they start asking him questions. Then it cuts to fake Iris and her little storyline. I didn't have much. I didn't get much into the thing because I was actually interrupted by someone who knocked on my door. So the only thing I really took away from it was fake Iris asked Joe about the Carver stuff and that she wants the information. And Joe's like, I can't do that. I can't give you the information, help you. And then fake Iris kind of freaks out on Joe, and she's like, oh, sorry, let's just go for lunch and get Big Belly Burger and stuff like that. So yeah, that was also the side plot, another side plot in the episode. I'll get that done. I'll get that side plot actually wrapped up in it right now. And essentially, she kind of, says that she forgot the time, but we really know that she's doing bad things, especially if you watch by the end of the episode. But essentially, Iris goes into Joe's office and downloads the files on Carver. So this fake Iris has information on Carver now, and that's not good. So yeah, obviously, fake Iris is doing some stuff, and especially if you watch the post-credit scene, you can, or not the post-credit scene, but the end of the episode, you can see where this is going. So, anyways, it cuts back to Star Labs, and it has, Frost is back in Star Labs, and Chester is there, and he basically tells Frost like, I want to befriend Barry and become friends and stuff like that, and I don't want to cause him too much trouble. And all of a sudden, they do find the passed out Barry. So after a while, after explanations happen, Barry finds out that due to Gorilla Grodd, he finds out he's in Gorilla Grodd's head. Grodd is still in his coma because of the inhibitor, and he wants essentially to show Barry what it's like to have no powers and feel the way he felt. He also feels like he was treated in a cruel way, and then when him and Barry have a little back and forth talking, because Barry just judges him for doing all these bad things in the past, like he even brings up past season events. And essentially, Grodd admits that he did wrong. He's like, you know what? I admit it. I did some bad things, and now I want to change. And essentially, he wants Barry's help to stop the gatekeeper that blocks him from essentially getting out of this coma. Now, Barry at first does not believe him, and he's like, please. He eventually gets out of the cage because Grodd lets him out, and he basically knocks Grodd out. Sooner or later, when we're back in the real world, in Star Labs, Frost eventually finds out that Barry's in someone's mind. And yeah, because they used the same thing like they did from their first part of the season against Bloodworks. So, anyways, it cuts back to what Barry's doing in his world. He's wearing his Flash costume, and Barry finds the portal that gets out. And all of a sudden, he finds out that Solivar is the gatekeeper because he shows up, and essentially he's blocking the path, which makes complete sense. Then later, Frost finds out that Barry is in Grodd's mind, and she basically says that if the mindscape, because Barry and Grodd's mind are collapsing upon itself. If it fully collapses, Barry will be able to die. We later do find out that Grodd will die as well, along with Barry, if they don't get out of there. So then, because of it, Chester realizes or finds out that essentially he was the one that set Barry up to be in this mind prison or mindscape, and he blames himself for it. And he has a really nice scene with Killer Frost of, how people don't give him a second chance because he's like somebody out of the ordinary. And it was a lot for a character. You get a lot of character development for Chester in this episode because, you remember when he was one of the first main people in the series, and obviously it looked like he'd be like a one and done character, but he is back for this episode, and he got a lot of character development. And you actually feel for him from the aspect that, when he was younger, some guy just told him, look, you don't get your second chance. You fail and you messed up. So you can just get out of here. And, Frost tells him, look, I can understand where you're coming from. And I feel for you, but I let it be known, I'm offering you a second chance to fix this. So, yeah. Now, it cuts back to Eva and Iris, and they use the device. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Eva uses the device, and essentially she's kind of like, I can't use this, I can't use this. And Iris is like, come on, you got to try. So Eva's like, okay, then I'll show you. And she sticks her hands through the mirror, and we find in her hands literally get these like second to third degree burns on her hands, something like that. And obviously she's in pain. So yeah, we'll get back to that later. So after Barry literally almost dies to the gatekeeper Solivar, he goes back to the same prison area where he was being held, and Grodd talks to him in the form of Joe. Essentially, Grodd says, like, because of the inhibitor, his mind was still functioning, and, he knew of the Crisis on Infinite Earths and the events and stuff like that. And, he wants to forge essentially a new path, and he wants to change. He wants to be just a peaceful individual and live in Gorilla City. And eventually, after some time, after a few minutes, Barry's like, okay, I can mess with you. And Barry, essentially, he finally believes in him. And, they realize that, instead of doing the same thing like we used to do, we're going to have to work together. So Barry and Grodd have to fight together to beat Solivar to get out of the mindscape. So it cuts to the part where it's Barry and Grodd versus Solivar, and what I thought was super cool, which was the highlight of the episode, was Barry, like, he goes into Grodd's body, and because of it, now Grodd has access to his Speed Force powers while Barry's mind is still intact. And it was really dope. The visual thing, Grodd had the lightning emblem on his chest, and he looked really, really cool looking. And he was using the Speed Force and everything. Now, cutting back to Star Labs, because essentially Frost is like, well, yes, it's good that they would be able to escape, but if they escape and Barry's in the same mind as Grodd, Barry will essentially be trapped, won't be in his body, and he'll be trapped in Grodd's body forever, essentially. And then I forgot the other thing, but I think that ties into what I just said. And the fact is, if they also both escape too, or if they try to split them up, they could end up dying, and essentially, all that would be for nothing. So Chester comes up with a plan to get Barry out, and essentially, they come up with that plan and split their brainwaves up. What I thought was a cool thing, I'm just putting this as a nice little tidbit. It looked like Grodd was about to lose, and then all of a sudden, Barry's like, come on, Grodd, get up. Do it, Grodd. Run, Grodd, run. And it was so cool to see. I was like, okay, now that's what I like to see. That was a really cool line. And it was just so dope to see, because it was like, man, run, Grodd, run. Who would have ever thought we would get this far to the point we would be hearing run, Grodd, run? they just keep bringing that phrase back. Whether who they just keep bringing that phrase back. Like almost every character who gets to like speed powers, they always say run, run, name, run. Like last season, we got run Nora run from Reverse Flash saying it. When's the next time we're gonna hear friggin'? I feel like it'd be friggin' coincidence if someone tells Dawn to be like run Dawn run. That would be like okay, all right. Anyways, that was cool. So, um, Chester manages to split the brainwaves between Barry and Grodd, and they separate, and Barry and Grodd both wake up. When we come back from the break, we find out that Argus and Lila actually releases Grodd, but Grodd will be on probation to make sure he's not doing anything good, not doing anything good, doing anything bad. And if he ends up doing bad, then Barry says he will put him to a stop. But it looks like Grodd won't be a problem anymore, and I think this. I don't know if they'll do any future Grodd episodes in future seasons, but I think if you ask me if they were going to stop doing Grodd episodes, I think this is a good way to say goodbye to his character. Like I said, they can still bring him back, next season or for future seasons if they're going to want to do another Grodd Flash team up. But if I don't see how they can make Grodd a villain again, especially from the standpoint of he wants to have this redemption little, thing. And yeah, it was pretty cool. So, Grodd was great in this episode. Grodd was great in this episode. Cisco calls Camilla, and essentially he calls her to say that he's coming back to Star Labs. So, obviously, in the next episode preview, it didn't look like Cisco's there. He might be in next week's episode, or might be in the episode, the following week. So, yeah. And essentially, so we get the confirmation that he's coming back, like, most people predicted. He wasn't going to be gone for the rest of the season. He was coming back. Some people still feel like, especially they thought Carlos Valdez last season was going to leave the cast for good. But, nope, he's coming back. Anyways, Barry and Chester have a nice little talk and stuff like that. How, Barry, how believes in Chester. And essentially, Chester says, like, hey, I actually found your parents' cemetery where they're holding it. And, Barry thanks Chester for that. And essentially, because Harry Rathaway shows up again, Barry asks him if he could be like, his guy in the chair, helping him, assisting him. And yeah, so now it's kind of official now. Chester is now officially kind of a part of Team Flash. So Team Flash is growing. Now they got more smart people up in there. So yeah, he's now a part of Team Flash. So I guess Team Flash has grown now. Now it cuts back to Eva and Iris, and essentially Eva was talking about how she was always made fun of and ridiculed for, the device on like, reflective, like the reflective theory or something like that. And Iris essentially says, while wrapping her arms in these bandages, is that she will believe in her that they will find some way to get out of this. And essentially, Iris, I think it's Eva that asks, like, could you get more bandages or something like that? And Iris is like, yeah, where are they at? And she's like, they're upstairs or something like that. So all of a sudden, then we get something. Eva looks all concerned and stuff like that, and looks like Eva that we've been seeing. Then she flips a whole 180 script. She puts on a straight face, and she walks to the mirror, and all of a sudden the mirror changes, and we see fake Iris. And essentially, she talks to fake Iris, and fake Iris has the same exact burns as Eva. And essentially, the fake Iris is like, yo, what the hell did you do to me? And essentially, Eva's like, look, I'm sorry, I'll fix this right now. She puts her hand up, and essentially, she heals the burns that the fake Iris got from what Eva was doing. And yeah, essentially, and then that's where the episode ends off. So obviously, Eva, now it's a confirmation that Eva is evil. It was only a matter of fact of time to believe when we were going to get the whole, turn of her character becoming evil. I thought they would do that when they would finally get out of there. The fact that now she's evil in that, mirror world, Iris might be stuck there for a while. And when Iris finds out, or whenever she reveals to Iris that, she's been played this entire time, man, that's going to be crazy. And I think what Eva's doing is using this fake Iris to possibly ruin Iris's reputation. Because now this fake Iris went and stole something from Joe's computer, which were the Carver files. So when Joe finds that out, he's gonna be like telling this Iris thing, and it's the real Iris. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? What are you doing? Why are you stealing, confidential information from the police force? And if they can't, who knows? Maybe they might, maybe when the real Iris comes back, they might convict her of something. Like, I'm feeling like this fake Iris is going to do something bad that when real Iris comes back, she's going to get in trouble and she might have to go to prison for it. So maybe we might be seeing Trial of Iris. Who knows? Obviously, it's looking like this fake Iris is going to not only impersonate but give Iris some repercussions for what this fake Iris is doing. So yeah. And obviously now Eva is, I guess we can now say Eva, and she's totally playing Iris. Like, she's playing her like a puppet right now. So who knows when Iris will be able to find out when she realizes that, Eva's just messing with me. You can get out of here. You just don't want to get out of here because let's be real, let's be honest. It was Eva that pulled her into the mirror and stuff like that. So yeah. Now the post-credits scene, what's interesting was Nash goes to talk to Allegra to basically, have this discussion and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I believe it's Sherlock Wells. I don't know. But Sherlock Wells pushes him on the wall, and essentially, he starts, vibrating and moving his body like a speedster, and his eyes light up red, and he's like, he's coming, which essentially confirms the fact that Reverse Flash is coming back. Because if you see those red eyes with a Wells, let's be real, who else do you think it could be? So Reverse Flash is coming back. I don't know what episode he's coming back. Maybe he might be coming back next week, but it looks like it's going to be a Barry/Wally focused episode next week. He could, or maybe the week after that. But Reverse Flash is coming back. And I know if you checked out my Crisis on Infinite Earths review, I was one of the biggest advocates for saying, where the hell was Reverse Flash during Crisis, because he was hyped up. Apparently they're going to answer the reason why he wasn't on Crisis on Infinite Earths whenever he appears the next time. So obviously we're going to get Eobard on Reverse Flash coming back, so that's exciting. As well as we get Wally West coming back next week, and I can't wait to see what that episode has in store. This episode was really good. So far, I would say the best Flash episode, right now, the best second half Flash episode of the season, especially coming back from Crisis on Infinite Earth. This was the best one, predominantly because they finally featured Barry and the fact that they used Grodd. Like I said earlier, I don't know if this is like their way to write Grodd's character off and we won't see Grodd no more. But if they want to do another Grodd Flash team up, they can always do that. It's going to be interesting with what they do with that going in the future. But I think essentially, I think they've written Grodd off the show to the point you won't see him for a while unless they want to bring him back. So yeah, and then the revelations about Eva, that's interesting to see that, okay, yeah, she's always been evil from the very beginning. She's just plain Iris, and it's very interesting to see where this fake Iris plotline is going. Like I said, I think what I'm believing is, I think Eva's using this fake Iris to make Iris do all these shady things. I think the reason why she's using also fake Iris is to get more information on Carver, to see what's going on in the present world and stuff like that. But I also do believe she's using the fake Iris to ruin Iris's reputation to the point where she could get into some big trouble when real Iris could get into some big trouble even though she didn't do anything. And like I said, she stole some pretty confidential information from the CCPD. So Joe's not going to be happy about that, and then Joe's going to be like, look, I might have to look, I don't want to do this, baby girl, but I'm going to have to turn you in because you're stealing from the police force. So, like I said, who knows? Maybe we get a trial of Iris to prove her wrong. like I said, I think maybe her goal is to frame Iris and ruin her reputation as well as get the better of people. And also the fact that she kind of now knows that Barry Allen, I wouldn't be shocked because essentially she probably know that Barry Allen is the Flash because this fake Iris obviously knows. So yeah, so it's getting interesting where this storyline's going. So yeah, we're gonna have to see for next week. So, anyways, episode 13, good episode. Can't wait for next week. So other than that, that's it. So I'm gonna get out of here. So if you like this video, leave a like. If you want to hit that comment section, what's your thoughts on the episode? Where you think this Eva slash fake Iris plotline's going, and your hype levels for Reverse Flash coming back? Put that in the comment section. Also, hit that subscribe button to get any CW related content as well as get more Flash reviews for the rest of the season. I also want to say this for people who watch or if you don't know, I do My Hero Academia reviews. I will be doing a movie review on My Hero Academia Heroes Rising tomorrow night because that's when it's coming out, and I can't wait to see that movie. So check out tomorrow's video for the channel to see my review and get my thoughts on the movie. So other than that, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to catch you guys later. This has been Camry 15. Peace. Hopefully you guys have a great day, great night, or whenever you check out this video. So I'm just going to get out of here. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.